there's a major holdup with regard to the big, beautiful bill. Apparently, the Senate Parliamentarian has now decided that there are serious problems with the big, beautiful bill. So there were decisions publicized Thursday from the Senate Parliamentarian that affects several major pieces of the big, beautiful bill. The one giant piece of legislation that includes the Trump tax cuts, funding for immigration, funding for a wide variety of priorities. So again, according to the Senate Parliamentarian advised that actually several provisions of the one big beautiful bill would be subject to a 60-vote threshold if they remain in the bill. Remember, this is supposed to be passed under reconciliation. What that means is that because the budget is really, really important, essentially there is a rule in the Senate and the House that you can pass by 51 votes in the Senate, not having to overcome a filibuster. If there's a bunch of extraneous stuff in the budget bill, then theoretically that could be struck down by the parliamentarian as not really inside the budget and therefore subject to a 60-vote filibuster. Alrighty, so you're asking, what does the Senate Parliamentarian do? The Senate Parliamentarian is the official nonpartisan advisor to the United States Senate on the interpretation and application of Senate rules, precedents, and parliamentary procedure. The parliamentarian and their staff provide guidance to the presiding officer, Senate leaders, individual senators, and committees on how to conduct Senate business in accordance with established rules and precedents. Key responsibilities include advising the presiding officer on procedural questions, motions, the appropriateness of amendments or measures. Now, the parliamentarian's authority is advisory, not binding. The presiding officer of the Senate, usually a senator or the vice president, formally makes procedural rulings, and the Senate can, in fact, overrule the parliamentarian's advice. So how does that work? Well, the presiding officer, in this case the vice president or the Senate majority leader, can choose to ignore the rule by the Senate parliamentarian, and then the full Senate votes on the point of order. A 51-vote majority can uphold or overturn the presiding officer's ruling, effectively overturning the parliamentarian's recommendation. Elizabeth McDonough, the parliamentarian who enforces the chamber's rules, said several of the measures in the big, beautiful bill that would provide hundreds of billions of dollars in savings could not be included in the legislation in their current form. The decision's dealt a blow to Senate Republicans as they attempt to pass the behemoth legislation by President Trump's deadline, which is July 4th, is when he wants to get this done by, the end of next week.